time around on Author's Corner, you're going to really love Roberta Roy. She joins us, and she's written really some pretty interesting things. There's no question about it. And Jolt, it's a 3-parter, a trilogy. And we're going to talk about Jolt even in general. But Jolt, a rural noir, is number 1. And I am thrilled she's joining us on Author's Corner here on America Tonight with me, Kate Delaney. So, Roberta, thanks so much for coming on.
Oh, hello, Kate. It's so nice to talk with you.
What was it? First of all, let's back up and talk about you and writing. How did the idea of tackling all kinds of things come to mind? How did that happen for you?
Well, I'm a speech pathologist, so that's in there. I have a speech pathologist in there, but the thing that really got me to write was after 9/11, I became very concerned about the possibility of some kind of a mass event. And I took 100 hours with the military. I traveled to Washington and Bethesda, wherever, Maryland. And I took courses with the military, typically as the only civilian in the class, on how do you survive a mass event. And there was a 1-week intensive on how do you survive nuclear fallout in case of a meltdown. And I lived near an active nuclear power plant at that time. And it was so calming to find there was some way to respond. And, I don't know if you know this, but there are 96 nuclear fission towers in the United States, and 30% of Americans live within 50 miles of it. And to date, there have been 6 meltdowns, best known as the 3 Mile Island one. But anyway, I found this course very reassuring. There was something I would be able to do in case there was a meltdown. And so I talked to the professor, who was a doctor, who was a military colonel, and I asked him if he would be willing, if I were to write a novel and I were to weave into it how you survive a nuclear meltdown, would he read it for accuracy? So he said he would. And so I wrote Jolt, rural noir, and he read it, and he thought that it represented, the ideas that he had presented in the class.
And it's so fascinating and wow, that's so much great homework you did and led you in that direction of these novels. And the idea is, for sure, winter's coming. We talk about this all the time. What happens? Radiation sickness. What happens with lack of food and housing and sanitation and all of that? And you weave it so brilliantly in your story, this community that wants to survive. So tell us more about this first one, the Wanting Jolt, the first of the Jolt series, a rural noir.
Right. Well, in Jolt, there are a couple, Lou and Mary Matters, and they have 2 sons, Jason and Marty, and they live about 30 miles from a nuclear fission power plant. And due to some associated terrorism, we don't go into that much, but anyhow, it melts down. And Lou, the husband, he suffers a left side brain injury because he's in some kind of a blast that throws him. It has nothing to do with the plant, but it has to do with terrorism. And it throws him against a telephone pole, and he gets left side brain injury. And Mary, she is near a dirty bomb, and some of the residue falls on her arm, and she gets radiation sickness. But the boys, they've been taught, if they know about the meltdown soon enough, they're far enough away that they can actually run. And so they take to the road. And meanwhile, about 200 miles north of where the plant is, there's a small village called Lockley, and it's overrun by those that are fleeing the radiation fallout. So in response to this onslaught of what they call the newcomers, 2 male veterans and a female city planner organized the village to provide decontamination, food, medical care, and housing for them all. So these characters that are developed in this book, Jolt of Rural Noir, they have their own lives. So once this is resolved, they go on, and you have Lou, who, you know, recuperates from the brain injury, and Mary, she recuperates from radiation sickness. However, they're separated because he has memory loss, and eventually they get back together. But the boys are on the road, and they actually are on the road for a couple of years. So there are actually 4 books in this series. The latest one I just released, but anyhow, it's a story of how they survive, and that goes on through these 4 books in what was a trilogy, but has become a tetralogy. But as a result of all this, what have I become? I've become a script writer, and I've written a number of film scripts related to the series, and award-winning. I've won like 30 awards. I've written 5 or 6 or 7 features, and anyway, the Jolt tetralogy, it's listed on BookBaby and Amazon, and in Barnes and Noble. And the latest one, which is The Morning After, is on Durance. But I would recommend reading Jolt of Rural Noir, because that's where it all begins.
Right, so you can start that journey, and then you want to know what else is happening, so you're going to keep going down that path. For you, has this been obviously it's been interesting, but has it been fun for you to write these books, and then of course the writing for the screen as well?
Well, COVID was in there, and so I was kind of housebound, because I now do teletherapy because I didn't want to be in a small room with children during COVID.
Right.
So speech language teletherapy. So I was at home, and for some reason or other, all I have to do is sit down and I write. And I don't know, I've just been writing, and I've enjoyed it. And I'm looking for an agent for my film scripts now, because that would be wonderful to have one of these turned into a film.
Right, and you never know. So I love that. When people read a rural noir, they start there, like you said, you suggest they start there, and then they go through the series. What do you hope they take away from reading your books, your novels? Well,
the first one is meant to be, informative, although I would hope they would enjoy the journey that people take in it. And the second one is, you got these characters, and they're living their lives, and they're solving problems. And eventually, the last of this series is an historical novel, current day historical novel, with the same characters, but it's in like 2122. And so we have, an image of the world, how people are living in it and seeing, climate change and political, questions being handled. And anyway, what do they take away from? I don't know. I just enjoy reading. So I guess they were to have fun.
There you go. Have fun. And so for you, it's obviously been fun. You can hear that in your voice. Did you ever think taking speech pathology, doing that for a career, would lead to this big burgeoning career in literature?
No. I've always written poetry, and then I just started writing this out, and I don't know how I got here. I'm here.
I like that. You're so delightful. I want to tell people, go and get these books. Start with noir, of course. At first, we're talking about rural noir, Jolt. Yes. You can get that on Amazon for a song, Kindle, paperback, however you like it. But boy, I love that you were concerned. You did those 100 hours in the program with the military, learned what you learned, went to the professor. You really did that research and that background, and I think it shows in the books.
Yes, I always research. As I write, I always do research. So there's always, I'm learning. As I write, I learn.
Right, exactly. So you're learning along with all of us with the great stuff that you're putting out there. Roberta, it's just been wonderful to have you on the show. Thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah, well, I really appreciate it. It's been a pleasure talking with you.